When you've got a block that has a bunch of relatively complex patches in it, it's good to have something to make sure that they're all kind of the right size before you start sewing your block together. And C&T has come out with this template where you can put it on top of your patch and see if it's going to be relatively the right size. So the way it works is you put in this particular case, you put the diamond on top of the center diamond. And I can see that my stitching is not perfect, but I'm not going to restitch it. However, what I do notice is, like, I've got my little tips of my triangles hanging out on this end and that end. And then if there's any extra little fabric here on the sides, I can trim that off. And so I'm just going to take my rotary cutter and then trim the excess off that side, turn it around, place it down again, kind of center it up. And then there's a solid black line here on the center of the template anyway, and that's going to be the line that I match the edge up here, and then I'll cut this side off too. And then I'll just go ahead and do that on all my little patches here, and that way when I sew them together, it's more likely that my block is going to end up being the correct size. Now that we have everything ironed and sewed, it's pretty straightforward to sew this block together. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew these two columns of patches together, and I'll just fold these over and stitch down the side. There is a little secret here to matching these points up, because that's really what the key here is in making this block look right. You can see I'm trying to match this point up with this point, and when they're right sides together you can't see that very well. However, if you stick a pin in here that goes through the front, it's right in that center, and then you poke it through the other one and you match it up so that the pin is straight up and down, and then you line up the sides of the patches so that this is exactly on top of each other, and then put another pin on each side. Then you take this one out of the center, and I go ahead and stick that back in just to keep everything lined up. And then as you sew, what you want to do is sew right either on top of or to the outside of this, where these two seams come together. And that way you've got a real good chance of getting a nice sharp corner where those two triangles meet. Now we've got these first two columns together, and I've chain sewn them so they're all sticking together. And now it's time to just add these patches on to the other side. Got the rows sewn together, so now all we need to do is sew them to each other. And again, the complication here is just making sure that all these points match up. That's really the only thing that makes this block a little more difficult to sew. Now we have our last seam, sewing this bottom row on, and then we're all set. And the block will be finished. This Storm at Sea block is all finished and ready for a quilt, or in my case, ready for the wall. Because it has so many different pieces in it, it offers a lot of design opportunities. When you put the blocks side by side, you may be able to tell that some of the combinations of color create some interesting designs. As a matter of fact, Wendy Matheson has just come out with a new book called A New Light on Storm at Sea Quilts, and some of her patterns in here are really fun. And I never even really thought about it, but you can take this pattern and make something like a little fish quilt, which may be a possibility for me. In addition, she has these cool little templates that allow you to make sure that the blocks or the patches that you're sewing inside the block are exactly the right size, so that when you sew it together, you come up with a block that's right and all of your points are pointy instead of like cut off. In any case, have fun with this. This is Penny Hallgren from quiltblocklibrary.com and howtoquilt.com, and that's how-to-quilt. Quilt, Quilt.com. If you're interested in the book or the templates, go to the How to Quilt website and you'll find a little article about the book and an opportunity to purchase it. If you're interested in a free quilt block pattern, it'll be there too, and it'll also be on the quiltblocklibrary.com site. Thanks for joining me. Peaceful piecing.